Are you interested in doing a professional homeschool evaluation but feel uneasy about having someone look at your students' work? Do you have questions about the process and how everything comes together? Get our guide to stress-free homeschool evaluation techniques with our expert guidance. Don't miss out on this helpful information. Go to today's show notes for a copy of our ultimate guide to stress-free professional homeschool evaluations.
Welcome to the Essence of Homeschooling podcast, brought to you by the umbrella school, Start Academy. We empower and equip you to cultivate the authentic homeschool lifestyle where freedom and relationships rule.
Hey friend, I'm glad you're here with us today. I have Stacy and Kim, and we're going to be talking about reflecting over your homeschool year so that you can wrap things up nicely, put a pretty bow on it, and then be prepared to move forward for your next year so that you can plan your next school year the most effectively. Kim and Stacy, thank you for coming with me today, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts. How do you use reflection in your own homeschools as the year is ending and you're going into summer and getting ready to look towards what you want to do for the next school year?
I think it's important to look back at the year you've just completed before you jump right into the next year, because most of us homeschool moms, we shop for curriculum. We're so excited about this package or that book or whatever methods and manipulatives we might have. But instead of just jumping right into next year, take time to look back at this year. What curriculum did you buy? What curriculum did you actually use? What curriculum did you actually enjoy? If there was something that felt like it was more of a chore to grab off the shelf every day, you didn't enjoy it, your child didn't enjoy it, maybe you need to rethink whether that is a curriculum we need to continue. Even if you had planned out already, you were going to use it K through 12, or it's the best high school curriculum out there, whatever it is. If you don't look forward to doing it, your child doesn't look forward to doing it, maybe you need to rethink that for the coming year.
You know what I just realized when you were talking about that? I think that sometimes I've been guilty of this, like you're nearing the end of the school year, or I start looking at curriculum maybe between February and March. I'm starting to think about the next school year. And sometimes I'm just like so fed up of what we're doing. And it's like, okay, I'm ready for this to be done, but we're going to finish it because we started it. We spent a lot of money on it. I'm like so excited to get on to the next thing. Like I might rush that decision and I might fall prey to some of their great marketing that they have. And it looks so shiny and wonderful. And it's going to be the answer to all of our problems, especially February, March. That's a hard time period, I think, for every homeschool. Maybe February to May, because you're getting pretty tired as you near out the end of the school year. So I think that it's good to take a pause, like what you're talking about, and really look and say, what was good, what worked, what was bad, and why was it bad? What was it about this curriculum that we didn't like, that rubbed us the wrong way? Or what was really great, the attributes that made us love it? What was it that we loved about it? I think that's beneficial to try to look at everything really objectively.
Yes, I think it applies to classes that you've been involved in as well, or co-ops, things like that too.
Oh man. Especially if you're teaching a class in a co-op and you're just tired. You've been prepping classes all year and getting supplies together. And it's hard to look back when you're tired and effectively plan going forward if you don't take some time to rest and do an honest assessment of the pros and cons.
That's true. And were all of those things meeting your objectives that you had set out maybe at the beginning of the school year, looking back, if you had taken the time to think through what are your goals for your child this year in all the different areas, not just academically, but also spiritually and emotionally and socially and things like that. Were your goals met or not? And if not, why not? And what can you fix, going forward?
Yeah, that's a good reason why to write down the goals, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
To really document them and look at them so you can go back and reference them.
I agree. I think it's really
It's hard to
important if you don't know what your goals are, then it's hard to know at the end of the year whether you've made any progress if you didn't know where you were headed to begin with, unless your goal was, let's say, complete XYZ book start to finish. That's not really the type of goals we're talking about, though. If it's really more skill development goals, academic goals, knowledge goals versus just finish the curriculum goals.
Mm-hmm. Character, things like that. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we haven't even talked about critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, those type of goals. We could even talk about things like goals of being in nature. How often did you get outside this year? What about sports, art, music, speech and debate? Any of those extras. If those are important to you and you had a goal for that for the year, maybe if you didn't meet it, did you focus too much on academics? and you need to broaden your children's education, or it could be totally the other way. Maybe you spent too much time on fun things and you need to reel it in next year and really hit the English and math.
Or find ways to incorporate subjects together. Like you said, speech and debate. Speech and debate is great for incorporating English. Like you can use speech and debate fully for English if you wanted to, even history, research, writing, things like that, because they're so hand in hand because the kids have to write speeches, they have to research for speeches. And obviously they're speaking, that's part of language arts. There's a lot that you can do with that extracurricular in particular to weave in with your academics to get both done.
That kind of speaks also to like time management. If you can combine things like that with unit studies, things like that, that can be helpful going forward. But just thinking back to things like that, thinking about how your schedule was during the week, your daily schedule or your weekly schedule. Like Stacy, you were saying, is there a balance between the academic and the fun kind of things, the extracurricular? So I think that's just interwoven.
One thing that's important as you're looking back over your year is to consider your kids and get their feedback too. And
Yes.
ask them about their favorite things, their least favorite things, whether it's subjects or activities, projects that they might have done. It's easy, yes, for us moms to look at things from our perspective, like the high level perspective, but really getting down into the kids once they can really communicate that and understand what their feelings are. That's a great thing too to consider as you look forward to the next year.
Absolutely. I had one kid that I thought for sure would be interested in doing online classes because my other son had, and turned out not so much. He was such a people person. He much preferred being in a situation where he was around other people. It just depends. I think observing your kids and seeing what their bent is, that's helpful as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, if you live in an area where there are a lot of homeschool co ops, enrichment programs, any other extracurriculars, you might want to spend some time talking to your kids, looking at your family goals as well as budget, because it might be one of those things where you're going to have to plan ahead and pick and choose which activities you're going to do for the next year instead of just trying to do it all. On the alternative, if you live in an area where there's not a lot of homeschool co ops, enrichment programs, extracurriculars, you might want to just go ahead and jump on whatever you know you can do for the next year that your kids are interested in. So I feel like it really depends on where you live. In certain areas where there's a lot, you could be out of the house doing fun activities, co-ops all the time. And so it's really easy to get sucked into that. So maybe take a look at your last year and say, how much were we in the house? How much were we out of the house? How much core academics did we get done? How many extra academics did we get done? And did that meet my goal? Too much, too little, just right? And then use it to gauge your next year before you sign up for those programs and put money down.
And look at the purpose and the function that they serve and see if they are going to meet your goals for the next year, because you're going to have new goals. Your kids are growing every year that they're older. The goals should change as you're helping them grow and nurturing them more and getting more robust with their education as they grow and develop. Maybe those things that worked last year, even though they were great last year, they might not be great this year. I think no matter where you live and no matter what you have access to, one thing that everybody should always consider heavily is what is best, because there's a lot of good and there's a lot of great things that are out there, but just because they're great and wonderful doesn't mean that they're the very best for your family. So what is the very best for your family, the very best for each student, and to simplify down, because the better the quality, the more simple it is, the more you can get into it and make the most out of it. Whereas if you have too much going on, they're spread too thin. Like I heard somebody say it once, they said they're so well-rounded, they have no point.
Oh, I've never heard that.
And I really like that. Niche down your kids' education a little bit, or at least the extracurricular programs that they're going to be in. So it's really customized for your student.
And also dependent on their ages and their grades, right? I think it is a good
Yeah.
idea to expose your kids to a lot of things in elementary school. But
Mhm.
as they grow up, you can't continue all of those things. And they're going to have things that they like more. So think about what age and what grade your child is in, what they've been exposed to. And if there's something that they've never been exposed to, maybe this is the year to do it. Maybe you always thought they were going to take piano lessons and you just haven't gotten it in the last couple of years. Maybe you make that a priority this year. Because when high school comes around, they're not going to have a lot of time. I know that's one thing that we've struggled with a little bit in the last couple of years with my daughter is as high school has gone along, the time that it takes to get the academics done is taking more and more and more. And then she did basketball. That was her one extracurricular. And we really didn't have any other time to do anything else other than church, youth group, basketball, and academics. So it was a new phase for us in the latter years of high school. Whereas before that, we didn't devote time to any one thing as much.
And you have to factor in sleep
Yeah.
because that's huge. It's so easy to overcommit, overschedule, and get involved in a lot of programs, especially like in high school when it becomes a little bit more serious when you're looking at transcripts and college applications and things that you want to have on there for extracurriculars. But they have to sleep. And when they're, especially if they're doing sports that are pretty hardcore, they're tired. They need to still be well rested. One, to grow, they're still growing. And that's
Mhm.
hard on teenage bodies to grow, brain development that they're going through. And then just the ability to, for the cognitive skills that they need to be able to learn. The older they get, the more critical is that it's really the best thing for them and their personality and what they want to achieve and what they want to do.
Definitely. We allowed more sleeping time on certain days this last year of her senior year because there was a couple days she had to get up and go to dual enrollment and then to co-op. So on the other days, we did not plan on her getting up early and jumping right into class. She needed some time. She's to the age where she wants to sleep in a little bit. She wants to get up and have a cup of coffee. And so we allowed those on the days where she didn't have to get up and get out the door.
This is also a really good time of year that we normally just assess their overall academic performance in terms of doing any kind of end of year testing or evaluation if you need to do that. So it's a good time to look at their strengths and their weaknesses. If you did testing, take a look at those scores and just sort of think, oh, is it what I expected or were there any surprises? And they can really help you understand your child's strengths and weaknesses and see where they excel and where they might still need some support. And it's a really good time as you're doing that and looking back over, just generally speaking, their work from the previous year. It's a great time to just pull out a few, just a handful of their best work or their favorite work that they've done, especially in maybe math and language arts, if you have that available, and set that aside. If you're going to do an evaluation, that works super well. You can just take a picture of that and have it ready to upload to the website if you're doing that, the evaluation on the Stetheros website, or just for your own records as far as that goes. So this is definitely the perfect time of year to do that. And then also kind of a fun idea as you're doing that, some people create their own scrapbooks, but I know Colleen Stetheros has kind of it's almost a portfolio scrapbook kind of thing that we provide as well, right?
It's an option that people can add to their evaluations with you. So when they submit their work samples and all the information for you to do the evaluation, we can take those and turn it into a digital portfolio. So everything is available in one PDF document. It highlights everything, whatever they want to include, whether it's a reading log or specific information that they provide to you that they want us to highlight. And then we put it in a pretty package and then they just have it in a PDF. It's not necessarily to be shared with anybody. Like it's not to give to any authorities or anybody else for approval. It's just for your records. If you wanted to share it, you could, but that's not the intent in which we're making it for. That's just a good way to have everything in one document to really reflect and show all the great things that they did.
Like almost like a keepsake in a way.
Mhm.
I know a lot of parents have sent me over the years really kind of it's almost like a small journal of the things that their kids have been working on and the way that they've excelled in the different areas, subject areas or character traits or whatever it might be. It's a nice memory. And it's also fun to see pictures that people include once in a while as you're reflecting over your past school year. It's fun to go back and maybe even create in your photo album online, wherever it is, special sections that are just like school this year, this school year, 23, 24, whatever, and go back later on and you look at what you've done. Oh, I forgot we went to the pumpkin patch. Oh, I forgot we did that experiment. Those are kind of fun ways to look back and remember things, jog your memory.
And isn't it astonishing how easily we forget things?
Yes.
Even when I was young, I'm older now, it might make more sense that I'm forgetting things now, but even 10 years ago, things I thought, "Oh, I won't forget that. Life happens. You're busy. Moms have so much going on." You do forget things, so it is great to have it documented somehow where you can look back over it and enjoy it. Pat yourself on the back for all your accomplishments.
Absolutely. It's important. It's a keepsake.
Also, if this is a year where you're transitioning from, say, elementary school to middle school or middle school to high school, you might want to take some extra time and look back at that chunk of time. So look back at the elementary years or look back at the middle school years in order to move forward. As your child grows and you have more years to look back on, you can see how their interests have developed, where you've spent your time, what they've been drawn towards, what they really don't want to do when you have to make them do. and then use that information to plan the next, in general, plan the next chunk of years, middle school, high school, say. Not that you're going to be picking out classes, but just think about their personality, about their character, about their likes, about their dislikes, and think over the next 3, 4 years, what goals do I have? What do I want to look back on and say that we have accomplished in this time before we then move on to the next chunk of years?
Good idea.
Are you looking for a supportive community to walk with you through your homeschooling journey? Look no further. Start Academy is your go-to umbrella school for fulfilling legal reporting requirements in Colorado. But what if you don't live in Colorado? We still serve you through our support tools and services. At Start Academy, we're not just another institution. We're your partners in education, providing comprehensive support services designed to empower, encourage, and equip you to be the best homeschool parent that your children deserve. Teacher and student IDs, parent and professional evaluations, attendance logs, record-keeping services, DIY high school transcripts, or our official homeschool high school transcript service produces personalized transcripts that highlight your students' unique accomplishments. High school diplomas celebrate your family's achievement when you successfully complete the adventure. Additionally, our experienced homeschool coaches provide one-on-one support throughout your journey. Custom tailor your homeschool support system by selecting one of our 3 enrollment packages based on your family's needs. This way, you can get exactly what you need to make the most of your homeschooling experience. We come alongside you in the way you want to be supported, whether that's the bare minimum or holding your hand each step of the way. The umbrella school Start Academy provides what you want the way you want it. So why wait? Enroll with Start Academy today and unlock a world of possibilities for your homeschooling journey. Go to theumbrellaschool.com to learn more and sign up. We can't wait to serve your family.
What brought you joy this year? What makes you say, I really enjoyed homeschooling my kids this year? We had fun doing what? What would the fill in the blank be? I really enjoyed my kids when we went on such and such field trip, or when we gardened together, when we went on a hike together, when we could be a vacation. It could just be a daily routine. We really loved doing morning basket time, or we really loved doing a 2 p.m. tea party. Whatever gives you joy and instills joy in your children for learning, for their siblings, for their parents, and for homeschooling is something you want to continue in the coming years and make sure it doesn't get overscheduled out.
Yeah, that's really good. That should be put up to the top of the priority list. I love
Yeah.
that that's leading with positive, to look at the positive things, because I'm always looking at what went wrong. What should I not do again? What should I avoid? Or what should I not do again? And I'm focused on the negative. And there's probably some place for that, but I think it's so much better to focus on the positive and say, what did I love? And maybe if you're a reluctant homeschooler, maybe you can't say that you love anything, but what did you like the most? What would you like more of? What would you like to improve on? What would you like to increase? I think that's a good thing to think about if you're a little bit reluctant.
Yes. And if you are reluctant, what small steps did you take this year to overcome that reluctance? And is it your reluctance or is it your child's reluctance? Because those are 2 different battles, I guess. If it's your internal reluctance, I think I would spend some time thinking about why. Is it homeschooling itself? Is it the ideas you have about homeschooling? Is it maybe pressure you're putting on yourself? I need to, I should, this is what I should be doing. I feel like I'm inadequate. I feel like I'm not measuring up to the kids down the street. And if so, what can you do to alleviate your own concerns about you homeschooling versus if it's your child's reluctance or if it's something external? But if it's your internal, maybe really think about why you are homeschooling, what your goals are for yourself in these years, not just your kids, because we're all learning and growing throughout this time too, right along with our kids. And at the end of this time, what do you want to look back and say, I'm glad I did this because, and that's your why. Why are you doing this? And if you can answer that, and then when you look back, you can say, I did this because, and I met that goal, I think that will give a sense of purpose, joy that you might not be able to see in the moment.
Accomplishment. That's really good. One external thing you need to look at too is, do you have naysayers in your life that are speaking negatively into you and your homeschool that you need to set up some boundaries with? Some people have supportive families and it's great. But there's a lot of people that really take a lot of flack from extended family. It's hard because you love the people, you want them to be in your life. They don't approve necessarily of what you're doing. Maybe it's time to put up some boundaries because the only person that you owe an explanation to are the people inside of your house. You, as the parent, are your child's ultimate authority, and it's your decision how you run their education. It's your choice, and you really don't have to give anybody an explanation for that. You don't have to justify your decisions. If someone is putting pressure on you, making you feel inadequate, if they're quizzing your kids when they see them, if they're constantly telling you no, you should put your kids in school, I strongly encourage you to have a respectful conversation and say, you need to respect what we're doing here. And if you can't, then we're not going to be spending so much time engaging with one another. And that's hard, but I think it's a good thing to do. And it's a good example for your kids on how to set up healthy boundaries. I think that's important, that our kids need to see us advocate for them and to protect them from external forces that would make them feel bad about what they're doing.
That's a hard one.
It is hard.
That's a
It's really
really
hard.
hard one. Yeah. It's important though. You're right. And if there's co-ops you need to leave, if there's sports leagues you need to get out of and find a different one, it is worth it in the long run, but it sure is hard in the moment to make that decision.
It is hard. Yeah, if you're in an environment where people are making you feel less than or making you feel like you should be doing what they're doing because that's the right way to homeschool, then get out. Don't even waste time with that. That's nonsense. Every family is unique. Nobody in the world can tell you what you should be doing inside your house with your family, with your children. You're the expert on that. Now, if you want help and you're seeking help and guidance from somebody, that's one thing. But even then, like when we're coaching people, we're not telling you what you should be doing, but we're giving you suggestions for things that might work. We're trying to help you figure out what's going to help your homeschool better. So don't tolerate anybody anywhere. I don't care who they are or how good they are at homeschooling their own kids. Don't let them tell you what you should be doing.
I think we've all probably fallen in that trap at the beginning of homeschooling, right?
Oh my
Maybe you meet somebody who's a homeschool mom, or maybe you see a group or something and they're all doing it this way. And so you're like, oh, I have to do it this way. Yep.
Look how well
And
it
look,
works. Look at how great their kids are. Look, their kids are so wonderful. It has to be the way.
yep.
Really coming from the classroom. Oh, that's how it worked really well in the classroom. Of course, it's going to work in my house, not necessarily. So, walking away from that, shifting the paradigm
Mhm.
is a healthy thing.
Coming from the classroom, you probably had even more pressure to make it look a certain way.
I felt it. I don't know if anybody else was actually genuinely thinking that, but I certainly felt it. I put it on myself. And so making that shift over the years was just huge, huge for me. But I'm so glad I did.
I think moms that are teachers who leave their jobs and pull out of the public school system to come home and homeschool, I think they have a harder time than the rest of us who were never teachers because you were taught a certain way on how to handle things. And I've talked to so many licensed teachers who are making the switch and they have a hard time. Like, this is so different. This is a completely different culture. It's a completely different lifestyle. This has nothing to do with what I learned in school. Lots of guilt. A lot of licensed teachers who are struggling with it, they carry guilt. There's shame because they're like, if I was trained to be a teacher, then why can't I teach my own kid? We should have another show on that sometime and talk about it. You can see what messages are you telling yourself that you're believing that maybe aren't truth. Ask yourself if what you're telling yourself is honestly true.
We've all had the experience of we buy a curriculum maybe in April or May for the next year. The next year comes, we get it out. We haven't really sat down and assessed our students' learning style, our teaching style. Maybe we just bought their curriculum because it was on sale. Maybe it was our neighbor was using. Maybe it's highly recommended, whatever. So I think if you take the time at the end of the year to actually look at the curriculum you used, did it meet your child's learning style? Is your child more of a traditional learner? Do they like books and workbooks or even online schooling? That also falls under traditional schooling. Or is your child the one who you have to beg to come inside because they just want to run around the yard and they'd rather engage in nature walks and anything outside? And if you're trying to force them to do a workbook, maybe you need to think about whether that was meeting that child's learning style. Because I think it's something that isn't talked about a lot. There's so many different ways to learn, especially as we were just talking about public school uses one way, but that's not the only way. Look at the curriculum that you used last year. Did you have to fight your child to do it? And if so, why? Did they enjoy certain subjects? If so, why? Was it the method? Was it the delivery method? Was it the teaching style of it? And that way you can use that to try to figure out their style, your teaching style, and then choose curriculum that falls along with the teaching style instead of trying to force your kid to learn in a way that they're just not wired.
Yeah, teaching and learning style both very important for sure. You have your basic, your auditory, visual, and kinesthetic learners, and then there's other things that people have come up with over the years. I think I've heard as many as 7 or more different kinds of ways that you learn or your strengths. And so tapping into that, like you said, observing your kids, whether it's through curriculum or through what you just see them enjoying doing or not enjoying, it kind of gives you clues to figure that out. Like my one kiddo that I found out, oh, he does not like online learning. He's my computer guy. I thought he would love it. Turns out, no, it's more important to him this was dual enrollment classes, to be actually physically in the classes. And when my kids were younger, I thought, boy, they're just like me. They're going to like sitting down and having a tidy little desk. Oh, no, not so much for little boys. That's not great. Paying attention to that is definitely super important. And you can make modifications too, because, for example, if your child isn't necessarily strong in reading just yet, maybe it's because they're more of an auditory learner. And so it's perfectly fine to switch to auditory or use like audiobooks, or maybe you incorporate a lot of other different things like graphic novels and things like that. So you can absolutely make modifications, accommodations, learning style that your child has.
Let's talk about evaluating time management. What suggestions do y'all two have around time management reflection over the past year and then looking forward to the next year?
I think one of my big ones was I like planners. I like having a teacher planner, an academic planner in front of me, right? And so I made the mistake of planning out the weeks just to erase it all or change it. Maybe somebody gets sick, or maybe we spent more time on math. And so then I had to bump history to the next day, or whatever the case may be. I really feel like time management should be flexible within the parameters of your goals. Because on the other hand, I feel like if I didn't have any plan, my time management would be out the window because we would start reading a book and 2 hours later, I'd be like, wait, oh no, all we've done today is read. Look back and see, where did you plan on spending your time over the last year? And where did you actually spend your time over the last year?
And also, I think one thing that I noticed over the years was I suddenly felt like everything was out of control and we were just kind of losing it. Maybe we weren't even getting along, things like that. I've realized I was letting the curriculum boss us around. And once I realized what I was doing, I put the brakes on and we just pushed the pause button, because sometimes, we get so eager to check all the boxes that we forget these are our kids, these are human beings here that we want to actually like learning. And so we need to really just focus on that kind of thing and think about the pacing of what we're doing too. If we're rushing just to get through a book for the sake of getting through the book, that's not a really good use of time at all. So you want to think about, okay, if 75 to 80% of a curriculum is considered to be done, even in the classroom, then I can do that at home and I can slow down a little bit. And if my child is more interested in this chapter on insects, we can go out and look for bugs or whatever it might be that they're studying. So pacing is definitely important. Give them time to, they say that it's good for your kids to be bored, because then stop and think, oh, well, okay, I'm bored, but what would I like to do? What can I do? And then all of a sudden you realize they can figure that out on their own a lot of times, try new things and go deeper in a lot of different areas. And so it is super important both for your kids and for you to have a manageable workload, because I think, like you were saying earlier, Stacey, really this is also about your growth as well as your kids, and learning how to manage your time is a big part of that as well, and teaching them.
And that is such a perfect segue to the last thing that I wanted to talk about. Looking at goal setting, we want to set goals for personal growth for the kids and the parents. Mother culture is something I love from Charlotte Mason that's so important. All mothers should spend time doing, and that's developing yourself and continuing to always educate yourself on something, to always be growing and nurturing yourself. When you're looking at goals, you want to look at, again, personal growth It can be something like improving time management that we were just talking about. It can be developing new hobbies or participating in different community events or community groups, things like that. It doesn't all have to revolve around homeschooling, but it also needs to incorporate homeschooling, both the academics, but then also what other ways are there to learn outside of academic books?
If you had goals set for the current year, now's the time to look back, as we're talking about, and see where you met them, where you fell short. And at the same time, you're planning the goals for the next year. And one of those goals is academics. Look back at each subject, especially the core subjects: math, English, science, history, the ones that they'll be doing for 4 years each, most likely in high school. Are they on track? Did they meet the goals that you had set out for this year? Whether your goals came from a textbook, an online program, whether it was something that you created, just look back and see what areas did they exceed them maybe? And that's an idea that that is something that they really enjoy, that that's something that they spend time doing. And so if they crushed those goals, that's a big sign to you about they probably want to focus on next year. And you could talk to your child. You could say, wow, our goals in biology this year were XYZ, but you just crushed it. Do you want to do another biology class next year? Do you want to do marine biology? Do you want to do advanced biology? Are you interested in this for a career? And just use those academic goals to have a discussion with your child, likes, dislikes, future plans. But then also, as you're looking at the subjects, don't forget the overall skill development goals inside of each subject, and also just as a student in general. What about time management? What about studying? What about learning how to be a student, learning how to learn? All of those are important as well.
Yes, and as you're going over your academic goals that you had set over the last year, it's a really good time as you're sitting and just sort of evaluating and processing all of that. You can jot down, oh, these are all the good areas, the places where we made excellent progress, whether it's academically or whatever. For evaluations, we focus, of course, mainly on academic progress. But for some of our struggling learners, it might look a little bit different. It might look a little bit more like life skills, and that's okay too. So, whatever area your child is making good progress in, this is a good time to sort of put those pieces together and jot those things down.
It may feel tedious at the end of the year when you've just spent all year teaching your kid. You just want to be done. And it may feel tedious to sit down with your planner, your curriculum, whatever you have, and to look back at the year and really give it thought over what went well, what didn't go well, all the things we've discussed. It is important and it is worth it. Once you take the time to do this, and then you can formulate your goals for the next year, you will save yourself time and energy in the long run by taking the time to do it now. So if you're listening to this and you're going, I don't have time to do that, just know that it is doable. You can break it up into chunks. Maybe you just look back at your goals and what you've done for one subject a day or one subject a week over the summer, however you want to do it, but really take the time to do it to save yourself energy as you're planning for the next years.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation and found it insightful. Be sure to check out today's show notes for all applicable links and additional resources. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us continue to bring you great content. Until next time, happy homeschooling. Are you struggling with creating the perfect high school transcript for your student? Let us help you. With our official transcript service, you get a professionally crafted transcript that highlights your students' achievements and ensures they shine in college applications, job applications, or scholarships. Save time and stress and let us help you professionally showcase your homeschooler's hard work. Visit theumbrellaschool.com to get started and make your student's future bright with a transcript that stands out.